Hello and welcome to a new video. In today's video we're going to take a look at the past Paradox Pokemon for Pokemon Go. And the reason for this, of course, is that we had recently a promotional art where we saw already that those are going to be coming most likely to the game this year, which is going to be crazy cool because yeah, they are very interesting Pokemon. It's kind of similar to what Ultra Beasts are. But yeah, of course, if you enjoy this type of videos, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. But of course, here there is the promotional art, very quick, which showcases here on the right side the Great Tusk against, I think, Iron Threats is called. So this is going to be an interesting thing here, that we're going to get both of those type of Pokemon in a game very soon. Otherwise, you see some Pokemon here as well in the art, which we all kind of saw already. But yeah, it's kind of usually showcasing the focus on the upcoming year for Pokemon Go. And here, of course, the only new thing really on this screen is going to be Great Tusk there, as well as Iron Threats, which is going to be something that we're going to take a look at today. Today, just the past Pokemon, but it's of course going to be another video where we just kind of take a look at the future Pokemon. For each category, there are 10 different ones, and here we're going to start off with a Great Tusk. You see on the left side always the CP limit, as well as the ground and fighting typing for this Pokemon, general typing for the Pokemon. What you see as well are fast and charge moves. Those are handpicked by me, because none of them yet have their moves in the code. It could be already a different thing by the time you see this video. It's going to be previewed a bit for like Christmas time or whatever. So yeah, basically it could be different already. Maybe they're going to add it already as well. But this is going to be currently the moveset that I chose, which I think are the best currently for the Pokemon from what they can learn in the game. And here we want to have a Mud Slap, Close Combat, and Rock Tomb on Great Tusk with 4550 CP. Makes it a very solid Pokemon to run for the Master League for sure. It would make it very interesting. Would have a lot of play. It would be very cool offensively against a lot of Pokemon. Would be a great answer to the Zacian. And with the Rock Tomb, you would be even able to hit Pokemon like the Ho-Oh, which usually would be a hard counter for super effective damage. And this is kind of why I do think that Great Tusk like this would be a very, very cool Pokemon. Again, we don't know yet on how they're going to get introduced, and we don't know yet on what kind of moveset they're going to have, but still, this kind of gives you today an indication on which Pokemon has a lot of like potential and which ones don't have any potential. And trust me, there are a lot on both sides. Screamtail is going to be next. And you see already the CP limit is for the Ultra League, because you're going to take a look at this Pokemon in the Ultra League. Again, it's going to be Fairy and Psychic type Pokemon, same as Gardevoir's typing basically. We don't know the moveset yet. We'll learn some interesting moves, like the Elemental Fangs are by far the most likeliest fast moves for this Pokemon, because it doesn't really learn anything else of fast moves. And then you have Psychic Fangs as well as the Play Rough. There are a lot of alternatives as well there. Learns like I think Body Slam as well, or Swift or something like this. Has a lot of different kind of coverage. But this Pokemon itself is going to be very cool. It's going to have a lot of play in the Ultra League no matter what, because there's amazing bulk. Like the bulk of this Pokemon is basically perfect for the Ultra League, but not for the Master League. It kind of ends up like at 2800 CP maximum. So here, I think it's a 0-15-15 version of this Pokemon would have one of the bulkiest IVs in the Open Ultra League, and a lot of play definitely. No matter really what this Pokemon is gonna get, it will very likely have some play there, because it has so much bulk to it. And as long as they don't give it like the worst possible moveset ever, this Pokemon is going to be very decent for the Ultra League, and definitely an interesting Pokemon. Brute Bonnet is going to be next. Fairly certain this one even won a regional or like even World Championships recently. I think actually World Championships recently, the last World Championships, I think Brute Bonnet won. This Pokemon will learn Sucker Punch, which is a fantastic fast move for this thing. You're going to have Trailblaze and Crunch as options there. It learns a lot of other moves as well. But 4000 CP, Grass Dark, we haven't got a good Grass type Pokemon yet for the Go Battle League meta. I would like to see the Root getting a bit of a buff towards it, but the Root hasn't got anything like this anytime recently, and so there's no good grass type Pokemon currently, which Brute Bonnet maybe would be able to deal with. Like you're going to have here Trailblaze, which is going to do some grass type damage and boost your own attack up, which should be kind of cool for this Pokemon. Of course, the type itself is very bad against Zacian. Zacian is just very much broken. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting Pokemon. I think that the Brute Bonnet has some potential, and we can move on to the next one. Where are we going to have Flutter Mane? The Pokemon that dominated most of the tournaments generally for the VGC. This Pokemon is going to be also a fantastic Pokemon for the Master League here, with CP at 4200 CP, which is amazing for a Ghost and Fairy type. Very great offensive typing. The issue for this Pokemon is you don't really have a cheap charge move. It would learn possibly the move of Icy Wind, which would help it out quite a bit, but there's no good cheap fast move, charge move there for either Fairy or the Ghost typing. Just generally for Ghost typing there's Shadow Punch, but this Pokemon doesn't have arms, so I don't know how it's supposed to be punching. So yeah, basically this is the issue for this Pokemon. It doesn't have a good cheap move, which then just makes it a bit more of an alright Pokemon. It still has some potential, just the fairy typing, the typing of this Pokemon itself is amazing. It's going to have some playstyle, don't get me wrong, but it's not as broken as it is in VGC, mainly because it just doesn't have a cheap cheap charge move there. It would have actually other fast moves as well, I want to say as well. It would have access to Astonish, for example, which would be kind of cool. I do think it learned Disarming Voice as well, which could help it out a bit, would be a bit cheaper for it. But Moonblast gives you the damage output, so I don't know. There are a lot of different ways. Would learn Charm as well if you want to have it as like a really degen Pokemon. It has a lot of potential. Like this thing has a ton of potential. It's a typing, it's a stats. Everything is kind of right for this thing for the Master League. With Slither Wing, we don't really have the same thing here. What you see as well is a little bit of a difference in terms of the moveset that you see on the left and the moveset that you see now. Ember is performing a tiny bit better than Bug Bite. I had Bug Bite in first, then decided to change just last second there. Both of which are alright, both of which are not going to change a lot. While having 4100 CP is amazing for a Bug and Fighting type, kind of the same as Boswell has, this Pokemon itself is kind of getting held back by the moveset as well as that Bug and Fighting just doesn't have great coverage. It both is going to be resisted by any kind of Fairy or Flying type Pokemon, so two Pokemons there that are already going to be able to completely resist your moveset. It's just tough. It's just tough to overcome. This is why Slither Wing is not going to be that great. This is why Buzzwole hasn't seen any play after the counter nerf either. It's just because like the typing itself is not great, the coverage itself isn't great, and this is making Slither Wing a cool Pokemon to have, but like nothing for PvP. Sandy Shocks are going to be electric and ground type Pokemon, which you have basically here a Stunfisk for the Open Master League, which is kind of funny, with a Volt Switch, a Scorching Sand as Wild Charge, mostly being the best moveset, going to allow it to hit something like Zacian for super effective damage, of course. It's going to be generally quite an alright Pokemon. I think that the ground type coverage is really good in the current Master League meta, but itself here, this Pokemon, almost say not be top meta either. It's a fun Pokemon though, and with that Sandy Shocks, it's going to be an interesting thing to have, but we can move on now already to the next one. Where are we going to have a Roaring Moon? A Roaring Moon is going to be a very interesting, it's like kind of it's a special kind of Pokemon. There is like basically those pseudo legendaries for even the Paradox Pokemon, and this is like the Roaring Moon basically for this generation there, for like this game itself. I think it's Scarlet? Yeah, Scarlet should be, where you can get this Pokemon. And this is going to be a Dragon and Dark type Pokemon, but it has amazing CP there. Look at this, 4764 CP currently in the code. Is amazing. Dragon and Dark typing is alright, and it's just generally going to be a top meta Pokemon. It's going to be very, very strong. No matter really on what they're going to give it, of course, with Night Slash would be kind of cool together. Night Slash, Dragon Breath, has a lot of other alternative options, like Crunch, has like some other Dragon type damage, has like Fire type damage. There's a lot of play. It could have basically nearly everything currently going on for it. It looks like a really cool Pokemon. I think it's going to be cool with a 4700 CP as well. It's going to be very strong. But there are going to be then 3 legendary Pokemon that also got their Paradox forms. So let's take a look at those last 3. Starting off with Walking Wake, with a disappointing 3500 CP. I have no idea why. I don't know if it's a bug or an issue in the current game code. I hope it is, but those all have absolutely horrible stats. Walking Wake, horrible stats here, cannot really do anything. It's just a really, really bad Palkia, so we can kind of glance over it. Maybe you have some play in the Ultra League, don't really think so either, because the stats itself don't look like that. It's just a bad Pokemon. Let's move on to the next legendary Paradox Pokemon, which is a Raging Volt. It has a bit better CP with 3800, but why is this Pokemon also so bad compared to what it's supposed to be in? I have no idea. It's just isn't great. You have Volt Switch, Discharge, and Draco Media is the best one. All of those legendaries, by the way, would have a signature move that they could learn. Hydro Steam, I think it was for the other one, for the Walking Wake. Yeah, it's, I think, Thunderclap, and I think for Gouging Fire, which is the next one. I have no idea what it's going to be. But yeah, the CP itself is just so disappointing, where I'm just like, is it supposed to be that low? I just went based on what PvPoke says towards this Pokemon. They're all on PvPoke. You can do everything I did here on your own version as well. I didn't need to add anything. I just added the moveset here, which is the best moveset I could have. But honestly, Raging Bolt is so disappointing. And the same goes for the final one here, which is Gouging Fire. Why the hell are all of the legendaries way lower CP and way less interesting than all of the ones prior? for me, that doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. None of them are going to have play. Like, why would you want to run Gouging Fire if you're going to have access to Reshiram, which is just the same Pokemon and way better? So, something must have changed there. Something must still change afterwards, because there's no way that those 3 Pokemon are gonna get released like this, because they're all just gonna be, yeah, one-time encounter and you're gonna be fine. You don't need it anymore. So I'm curious. I'm curious on what's going to happen with them. Let me know down below what you think about it. This is going to be it for this part of the video. And again, there's going to be a second part. We're going to take a look at the future of Paradox Pokemon. So feel free to follow this channel and I will see you then. Bye-bye.